the population of Sodom and Gomorrah, maybe big as Cape Town, and there's only one righteous person. So it's possible to do it. It's possible. Our righteousness does not need to be influenced by the people around us, does not need to be influenced by the type of positions we have, does not need to be influenced by the type of wealth we have. It only needs us to be true and honest with God. And if Lord can do it, you can also do it. And another wealthy person in the Bible is the famous Dorcas. Do we remember Dorcas? What we don't hear about her is owning anything materialistic, but we hear about her being able to help people. And this I found to be one of the most important types of wealth, having a talent and using it. We are seated here, we are all talented, but our talents only become wealth when we start using them. Now, Tabitha, who is also known as Dorcas, used her wealth not just for herself, but for her community as well. And I think we can sing a chorus because that's going to disturb me. Alright, so we were speaking about Tabitha, who is also known as Dorcas, and I'm saying that the kind of wealth that she had is the kind of wealth that we seated here all have access to, and that is talent. And that, when it is used right, it benefits you. Now, when you look at the life of Tabitha, everyone in the community knew about her, but that was not, as if that was not enough. Her helping the community gave her a second chance to life. She died, and everyone in the community said, because this woman has died, even though we still have our money, even though we still have our families, even though we still have our jobs, but we are in great danger, we need her back. They demanded that she be resurrected. And when she was resurrected, the whole community celebrated. And I want us to have this in our minds that we don't need all the money in the world to change the world. But we need what God has already given us, what God has already blessed us, to be able to change our communities and the people that are around us. Now, if I were to ask, maybe let me make it a rhetorical question. Do an introspection. If you were to die now, God forbid, what would the world lack in your absence? Is there anyone except your parents who are just going to cry because they gave birth to you, and your family and your friends who are just close to you? But what is it that if you were to be taken away from the world, what will the world need so much that they would only have to resurrect you to get? What have you planted in the world that will make the world to say, in fact, not even in the world, what have you planted in your small circle that is enough for them to say, we can't live without Usetu? And that is the kind of wealth that God has given to each and every one of us, not just for ourselves, but to be able to bless others. So if you missed anything that I said today, go home, find what God has gifted you with. Don't use it just for yourself, use it to make a difference, because that is the kind of wealth that no one can take away from us. When we opened, I read two Bible verses, one emphasizing the point that everything in the world belongs to God. And whether we believe it or not, God has given the people that we deem to be unrighteous, those people, it's God that has allowed them to have the wealth that they have, though they are in the positions that they are in when it comes to Christianity. And another thing is that God has allowed you to be here today, broke, for a reason. But there's one thing that no one can take away from you. The mind that you have, the hands that you have, the talent that God has given you, the information that God has given to you, and what are you using those things for? During the week, I watched a video of Ulatita Shomla, some of you might know her, rendering a beautiful item at her school of Celine Dion. And as I was watching this video, I said to myself, this lady has potential to reach not just South Africa, but the whole world with this beautiful voice. Some of us might not be blessed with voices, but there is something that can change the world that God has blessed you with. Tap into that. Because the problem is that all of us are trying to acquire money, not just wealth, because we are not investing, but we'll talk about that in the afternoon. We are all trying to acquire money. And money is useless in a heart that is not rooted in God. All the characters that we've spoken about in the Bible, what made them to be able to multiply their wealth, and not only multiply it, but what enabled them to sustain their wealth was knowing who the source of their wealth is. If I dare move it a little bit further, do you know that it is not you waking up every day and going to work that sustains you? If it was you who sustained yourself, then we wouldn't have, if it was money in fact that sustained people, then we wouldn't have people that earn more than you, but every month when the money goes in, it goes out and leaves a minus. Do you know that happens? Other people just get paid to pay debt, but they survive until the next month, and the other month, and the other month. Some people are unemployed. They've been unemployed for years. Some are coming from families that are unemployed, but they are here with us because money does not sustain us. That is why I'm saying, when we look at all these biblical characters that had the wealth, one of their biggest forms of sustenance was knowing who the source of their wealth is, which is number one. Number two, it is obedience towards the person that gives them that kind of wealth. Number three, it is knowing that it's not all formulas that work for other people that will work for us. Sometimes, in fact, all times, you need to consult God to make sure that, hey, God, is this formula going to work for me? Because other people earn little and they have big savings. You are working, you earn more than them, you have little savings. Maybe it's time to change your formula. But the most important thing is that we allow God to be the one who runs literally our lives. We have other characters that we already know. I'm not going to speak more about them, I'm just going to reference them. We remember Joseph. He was sold by his brothers, and after being sold by his brothers to the land of Egypt, he then realizes that Egypt, in fact, God tells him through a dream that Egypt is going to have famine, and this is what you need to do. Now, when the king asks, Joseph tells the king at the time, Potiphar, this is what's going to happen. When Potiphar asks him, what do we then do to sustain ourselves during the time of famine? And then Joseph tells him that they need to save up. Now, this act that Joseph does is an act of faithfulness. He could have easily received the dream. After receiving the dream and say, okay, anyway, I'm a prime minister, I can save up just for myself. and then Egypt will die, and then one day I will rule over Egypt, or whatever. But be selfish about the information that he has. But he wasn't. He told Potiphar, and that did not only change the lives of the Egyptians, but his family, when they came to Egypt, they also benefited of that. So whatever wealth that we have, whether it be intellectual wealth, whether it be skills development, whether it be money, whatever wealth we have, let us allow ourselves to share it. Because while we are being selfish about it, we might not be depriving not just the people of Egypt who we think don't deserve it, but we might be depriving our future family members of getting a blessing through what we withhold. Because Joseph did not know that his brothers are going to come and Canaan would be, in famine as well, and then there wouldn't be food. He did not know that his brothers were going to come and need food and ask for food in Egypt. But because he extended his hand, he did not only bless the Egyptians, but he was able to bless the Canaanites as well. So, sharing is caring. Sharing is a godly habit. God did not only share his wealth with us, but he also shared a bit of his dominion with us. So may the Lord help us, may he bless us this morning as we go back and introspect the kind of wealth that has been given to us, as we try to be obedient, as we try to use it for his kingdom, and as we try to have a healthy relationship with money. It is important that money doesn't control you, but you control it. But wherever wealth you have, it is important that it doesn't control you, but you control it. Because the kind of dominion that God has given to us, it is over everything that is on earth. Everything, including your feelings. So may God help us, and may he extend the wealth of everyone that is here. And when he extends it, may our communities and our families benefit. Amen.